They are watching you right now, but you can't see them. You might feel a sudden change in air pressure, a prickle on the back of your neck, or a sudden unexplainable urge to change your path. We like to think of our lives as governed by physics, by cause and effect, by the tangible world we can touch. But there is a mountain of evidence, thousands of years of human testimony that suggests we are operating on a crowded stage, that we are not the only intelligent actors in this room. This is the simple, practical way to know when an angel is trying to intervene in your life. Have you ever felt a presence you just physically could not explain during a moment of absolute crisis? A sudden heavy wave of unnatural calm washing over you while the world burns down around you? Or a voice, not a thought, but an actual auditory whisper that guides you away from a fatal mistake? For centuries, people from every single walk of life, skeptics, believers, scientists, soldiers, have shared identical stories of these moments. They attribute them to something that makes modern society uncomfortable. They call it the intervention of angels. In the next few minutes, we are not going to talk about theology. We aren't opening a textbook. We are going to open the file on a collection of jaw-dropping, verified accounts from people who claim to have made contact. These are raw, personal testimonies of everyday people who found themselves in the darkest pit imaginable, only to be pulled out by hands that shouldn't exist. From a mysterious grip preventing a fatal fall to unexplainable extractions from crushed vehicles, these accounts challenge the laws of physics. They invite us to consider a terrifying but comforting possibility, that the veil between our world and the next is paper thin, and sometimes something steps through. So I have to ask you, do we have unseen guardians? Is the luck you experienced actually a calculated rescue mission? Stay with me, because the stories we are about to unpack recount ordinary Tuesdays that turned into supernatural events, moments where the timeline of reality seemed to break. Let's start with a scenario that triggers a primal fear in all of us: the loss of physical control. Picture a woman standing at the top of a steep flight of stairs. It's a mundane moment, but suddenly her physiology fails her. Her legs go weak. The muscles detach. She begins to pitch forward. We all know the physics here. Gravity takes over. Time seems to dilate, slowing down as she stares at the hard edges of the steps rushing up to meet her face. She braces for the crunch of bone. She knows this is it. But the impact never happens. Instead of hitting concrete, she feels something impossible. She describes a physical force, strong, steady, and undeniable, grabbing her mid-air and pulling her violently back to an upright position. This wasn't a reflex. This was an external intervention. And then she hears it. A calm, audible voice right in her ear saying 3 words: "I'll help you." Adrenaline pumping, shaken to her core, she spins around to thank the person who just saved her from a broken neck. But there is absolutely zero human presence. The staircase is empty. The hallway is silent. Her companion, who watched the fall begin, saw her pitch forward and then snap back up, but saw no one else. This is what researchers call the third man factor, where a physical intervention is felt, mass is moved, but the source is invisible. It gets more extreme. Consider the account of a man on an army climbing expedition. He's thousands of feet up, paralyzed by fear on a narrow mountain ledge. He is stranded. His muscles have locked up. In this remote wilderness, he and his team are the only registered biological life forms for miles. Suddenly, another climber appears on the rock face next to him. No gear, no approach noise. This figure ties a rope to the man's harness, mechanically lowers him to a safe platform, and then ascends back up the sheer rock face, disappearing into the mist. He was never seen again. In both cases, the help wasn't a vague feeling. It was a tactical rescue operation performed by an agent that vanished the moment the job was done. Now, let's move to where the veil is often thinnest: the violent car crash. Few situations on Earth are more chaotic. The shriek of tires, the screaming of metal, the smell of gasoline and burnt rubber. It is in this high-energy chaos that the most dramatic encounters occur. Take the event witnesses call the Miracle on Highway 6. It's a scene from a nightmare. A horrific, fiery crash. Victims are trapped inside vehicles that are actively burning. One woman, Lisa, is trapped upside down in the wreckage. A bystander named Cody, a brave guy, crawls into the twisted metal to help her. But the situation is hopeless. Fire is consuming the car. Outside, Cody's wife, Sherry, watches helplessly. She screams a prayer, a desperate demand. "God, send your angels now!" Sherry reports that at that exact second, the scene changed. She describes a brilliant white light flashing, and then she saw hands. Not Cody's hands. Other hands, reaching past her into a crushed cabin where there was physically no geometric space for another human body. In the blink of an eye, both Lisa and Cody were ejected from the entrapment and placed gently on the grass, safe from the inferno. This defies logic, but it's not an isolated incident. In 2015, Pastor John Boston was driving in Ohio. A live electrical transformer smashed onto his car while he was driving, trapping him inside as the vehicle ignited. He prepared to die. He made his peace. Suddenly, a stranger walked calmly up to the burning car. This man didn't panic. He opened the door, a door that had been folded shut by the impact of a transformer, as if it were unlocked. He pulled John to safety. The man introduced himself simply as Johnny. He looked at the pastor and said, "I can't be here when they get here." And then, like smoke, he vanished. And we have to talk about Katie Lentz. Trapped in twisted metal in 2013, her vital signs fading. The rescue crews were failing. The jaws of life couldn't cut the steel. She asked to pray. A voice from the crowd said, "I will." A priest, dressed in traditional garb, stepped through the police line. He prayed. A strange peace settled over the frantic scene. Immediately after his prayer, the equipment that had been failing suddenly worked. The steel snapped. She was free. But when they turned to thank the priest, gone. He does not appear in any of the nearly 70 forensic photos taken at the scene. He was later identified as a real priest, Father Patrick Dowling. But his ability to appear and disappear through a secured perimeter remains a statistical anomaly. These stories, they get under your skin, don't they? They force you to look at your own history. Have you ever had that moment? A near miss on the highway? A stranger who said the exact right thing and then disappeared? We want to hear it. Stop the video right now and leave a comment below. Your story might be the data point that convinces a skeptic today. But angelic intervention isn't always an action movie. Sometimes it's a psychological rescue. It's about presence in the void. Imagine being 19 years old. You are stranded in a massive cold airport. You have been there for 24 hours. No money, no credit cards, no cell service to reach the friend who ghosted you. The panic is setting in. You are invisible to the thousands of people rushing by. You sit down, burying your head in your hands, and you whisper a plea to the universe. Minutes later, a young man sits next to you. He doesn't hit on you. He doesn't want anything. He just says you look nervous. For the next several hours, this stranger becomes your guardian. He buys you dinner. He buys you breakfast. He creates a bubble of safety around you. The fear melts away. The next morning, he walks you to the gate. You see your friend finally arrive. You wave, relief flooding your body. You turn around to introduce the man who saved your sanity, and there is no one there. He was standing 12 inches from you. You scan the crowd. He couldn't have run away that fast. He has evaporated. It's in that moment the realization hits you like a truck. His timing was too perfect. His demeanor was too calm. He wasn't just a nice guy. He was a sentinel sent to ensure you survived the night. We also see this phenomenon in the medical field. Angels acting as messengers of biological repair. There is the story of Luke, an 8-year-old boy rotting away from bone cancer. A severe infection had him on death's door. His mother was keeping vigil, watching the monitor lines flatten. Then a nurse walks in, but she looks wrong. She's wearing a uniform from the 1960s. Starch white. Old school. She is calm, reassuring, and tells the mother she is praying for healing. She leaves the room. The mother asks the staff who the new nurse was. The staff has no idea what she's talking about. No such woman works there. Security cameras show nothing. But from that hour forward, Luke's infection vanished. He went into remission. He is cancer-free. Sometimes the angel is a human being, deployed like a chess piece. In November 2023, Sophie Sarbach stroked out on a commercial flight. Half her body went paralyzed. The pilot called for help. Mary Swain, an ER nurse who just happened to be on that specific flight, took command. She didn't just help. She ran a mobile ER at 30,000 feet, diagnosing the stroke, coordinating the diversion, and keeping Sophie alive until the wheels touched the ground. Sophie calls her a guardian angel, and mathematically the odds of an expert ER nurse being in that seat are astronomical. And finally, we have the signs. The communication that happens without words. The glitches in the matrix that are meant just for you. For some, it's visual. A man in Texas, stressed to the breaking point, looks up and sees a cloud formation so distinct, so anatomically correct as a winged seraph, that he pulls his car over. A fire chief in Michigan checks his motion sensor camera, a device designed to catch thieves, and finds a luminous, winged figure hovering over his truck. Skeptics say moth, but the man feels the vibration of truth in his bones. But the most terrifying and life-saving sign is the auditory command. A driver speeding down a country road, late for a meeting, stressing about time. She pulls out to pass a slow car. Suddenly, a voice booms inside the car. Not a thought. A voice. Get back in your lane now! It is a command, not a suggestion. She swerves back, purely on reflex. 1 second later, a massive buck leaps from the woods into the exact empty space where her car would have been. That disembodied voice didn't just speak, it altered the future. From the impossible physics of a burning car rescue to the quiet disappearance of a stranger in an airport, the data points we've analyzed tonight paint a picture of a world that is far more mysterious than we admit. The common thread is always the same: unexpected help, perfect timing, and a complete lack of plausible explanation. These testimonies suggest that we are being watched, not by a surveillance state, but by a benevolent intelligence. Whether you interpret them as strangers, projections, or actual divine beings, the function is the same: to protect, to comfort, and to guide. If these stories sent a shiver down your spine, hit that like button. It helps us find more people who need to hear this. And subscribe, because we are going deeper into the unknown next time. Share this video with someone who feels alone right now. Maybe you are the angel they need today. Thanks for watching.